Oh, it's almost like they don't know me, son.
Who's gonna carry the boats?
Are you ready to be hated on the internet again?
That's all I want to do.
Well, it's time for another episode.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's all I have to say.
I'm not excited. I already had this conversation last night.
Yeah, shout out to Pop Culture Roundup.
Yeah.
Check them out wherever you listen to us. If you want more of this great movie reviewing content, they have much more thought out reviews, much better dialogue. We just kind of
No, I think we talk about it in full depth, and I think me and Jonah are just very animated. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah.
Shout out to you guys over there. So check that out. By way of news, word on the street, Drake is dropping For All the Dogs
Yeah.
sometime soon. For dogs.
Oh, the dows.
I'll be honest, I'm a little more optimistic for this one based on like just word of mouth of what I've heard.
Mhm.
Um, it feels like he's kind of been offended by everything that people have been saying about him lately, and so he's
Yeah.
like ready to drop another. If you're reading this, it's too late, or like something with that same energy on
Yeah.
it, which I'm excited for. I don't know if I'm going to be let down again. It worries me that my hopes are up, but also like hearing that J. Cole may be on
Right.
the album. He always going to do something with 21 that usually turns out pretty
Yeah.
cool. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I would say.
Yeah. I know he has like all these connections because I mean he's Drake,
Sure.
but one thing I don't want to see is there be an overload of features on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That's fair.
I do want Drake to be Drake, and if it is that kind of same energy as if you're reading this now, it's too late, then I want to hear that side of just Drake.
Yeah.
um, but I'm excited because he's already done a lot with a lot of other artists,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
for some time now. So I'm excited to see who he does put on, and if any of them are gonna shock anyone. Like if he does features, I want there to be like at least two where it's like, oh, I didn't expect this
Yeah,
person to
you
be
you don't
on.
just want it to be like the old reliable Travis Scott,
Yeah,
uh, you know,
yeah,
whoever we just talked
yeah.
about, The
Basically
Weeknd,
what
21 Savage,
yeah,
whoever
basically what
he's
Ash
always
was
working with.
saying last week.
Right. Yeah. 100%. That's kind of the word as far as music goes.
Yeah,
I mean, like we kind of know the releases that are coming up. We got a ton of them recently that I feel like have been what we've been looking forward to for a while.
yeah,
The Joyner Lucas record's still coming out as far as we know, so hopefully that's all right. Hopefully the Drake record's pretty good.
yeah.
Other news, uh, we saw the trailer for Willy Wonka
Oh
in the
yeah,
theater.
we did. I don't remember a lick of it.
Yeah, it
It
it was a little forgettable.
it honestly seemed like it wanted to be. What is that? What is that movie called? Um,
A movie about a guy that makes
no, well,
chocolate.
it's not even like
Probably in the
chocolate.
Chocolate Factory.
No, what's the? It's not called Scrooge, but like, what's? It's about Scrooge and like
A Christmas Carol.
that's it. Wait, is it?
Well,
I don't
that's what the
remember.
Charles Dickens stories.
Sure, maybe it's that, but that's the vibe I got from it.
Okay, okay, yeah, I see that a little bit. It feels kind of like an unnecessary origin story that I didn't really want to see in a movie, especially. Um, I'm a big fan of the Gene Wilder portrayal from the old Willy
Yeah,
Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. I'm a big fan of Johnny Depp's performance in
yeah,
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and it's one of those characters where it's like you're 2 for 2, and to go 3 for 3 is it's not going to happen.
yeah. No,
And that trailer kind of just reassured me of that. Like, it doesn't look like it's going to be a big movie. At least a movie that I'm going to consider like one of my favorites of the year.
yeah,
If I'm pleasantly surprised, cool. But like, there was virtually nothing that I took out of the trailer that I was like,
yeah.
oh, sick.
They because Willy Wonka is one crazy dude, and we
Sure.
see that in the first two movies. Like the
Yeah.
dude is a little psychotic, um, but Timothy Chalamet,
Yeah.
his Willy Wonka looks way more like lighthearted and like maybe he wants the kids to survive, so maybe this time he won't let them drown in the chocolate.
In the chocolate river.
Yeah.
Yeah, my grievance with it honestly is it felt like it was so overacted. Like he was just like Willy Wonka is an over the top guy, and so I don't mind that, but it was like so over dramatic with every little thing that he did that it just didn't feel like a very believable performance, like right off the bat, which kind of turns me off to the idea of him as that character.
Right.
It didn't feel very natural, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling about that one.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to it.
Other news is the new Star Wars show Ahsoka is dropping first episodes on the 23rd.
Yeah, I actually saw the trailer today.
Yeah, how you feeling about that one,
dude? So I'm not heavily into Star Wars like that.
Sure,
I was cool with the first 6 movies, was not a fan of like the next 3.
Okay.
And I've seen Rogue One. That's all I've seen. I haven't seen. Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I didn't like The Mandalorian. I thought it was boring, and I saw like 3 episodes, and then I was like, okay, this is just not for me. Haven't seen like Han Solo. This is the first time where something Star Wars related has piqued my interest.
Yeah,
because I mean, I know she's like a big character in like the Clone Wars, like the cartoon show, and I hear that's an amazing show too. But
you've never seen it though.
I've never seen that.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, like
interesting.
But I've heard of Ahsoka and
sure
whatever, so I'm actually pretty excited. The trailer looked pretty good too. So
yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this compared to similar to how you were saying. I watched a couple episodes of Obi-Wan. The Mandalorian was kind of like big, like I didn't really watch it when it was big. So I haven't really like gotten heavily into either of those, and I'm kind of with you. I like the original 6 a lot. The 7th one I was okay with. The 8th and 9th I felt like falled a lot flatter. But honestly, like some of these spin-off movies that you're talking about, like Rogue One and even Solo, are like 2 of my favorite recent Star Wars projects they put out. So I like those a lot, and so I'm hopeful that this one will be something similar to that. And so, I mean, depending on how the first episode goes, maybe we'll review that. I don't know if we want to repeat a Secret Invasion, but I'm always interested to see how it initially is. So we'll keep an eye on that. I think that kind of
wraps up
news as far as I know. If we turn our attention to new music this week, I feel like we kind of came off a couple of big weeks with like Utopia, Post Malone, a lot of big singles from artists for a week that felt kind of like a down week, maybe a little bit in music, where your biggest album coming out that I was like most interested in listening to was Trippie Redd. Which
I didn't even listen to that.
I didn't listen to the whole thing,
album, but I think I listened to 2 of the singles off of it. One with I think Wayne was on one of them. Was he? I don't remember who the other artist was. There was another featured artist.
There was a few features I was interested in with Lil Wayne. Roddy Ricch was on it. The Kid Laroi, Bryson Tiller.
I think to the Roddy Ricch one.
Yeah, I think there's a couple others. Honestly, like the Wayne feature wasn't bad, but the song kind of didn't really do it for me. I wasn't super interested in it. The one that I felt like I enjoyed the most was the Kid Laroi track. It's kind of a unique avenue for him. It's something that I feel like he's kind of tiptoed around, but like in this one, it's a very raw, vocal, emotional performance, almost bordering on like a rock alternative type of vocal flow for him. It comes across a little dramatic at times, which like didn't make me love it, but I like the different avenue for him. And Trippie Redd actually complements the sound pretty well with some smoother flows on his choruses, which was pretty cool. So I mean, I feel like Trippie Redd's kind of like a hit or miss artist for me, and even when it's a hit, it's like not something that I end up loving to death usually.
I've kind of backed off of hating Trippie Redd. And like before he started doing a couple features for Machine Gun Kelly, I was all for the hate. I couldn't stand him. He just kind of fit that mumble rap, like whatever. That was just the flat line. But then I enjoyed how he sounded with MGK, and then I was like, okay, like maybe he isn't terrible all the time. So like listening to the 2 that I did. One, I didn't know they were Trippie Redd until I looked at my phone.
Yeah.
But I didn't like hate them. Like I was not really paying attention, but there were a couple songs from this week where I was like, okay, this is trash, and I'd skip it.
Right.
So I might go. I probably will listen to the entire album just to kind of see.
Get the vibe.
Yeah, see if
Sure.
he's still on my nerves or if he's off the hook.
Yeah, he's got his moments for me. I feel like the last couple albums I haven't really got much out of
Yeah.
his projects. But let's move on to this next single that I think we both have a lot to say about. Bad Idea, right? By Olivia Rodrigo. Everybody's favorite new pop sensation. Kind of Taylor Swift Jr., you may call her, or Paramore Jr.,
Taylor
or
Paramore.
anybody that's suing her constantly for being a ripoff of every other mainstream artist.
Yeah.
How'd you feel about Bad Idea, right?
So I listened to it.
Yeah.
And I listened to all of these while I was at work. I was very productive when it came to listening to music at work. And this one came on and I knew it was her.
Right.
And I was like, okay, like whatever. She's probably just gonna be sad again.
Yeah.
And then I'm not gonna lie, not on her. I don't think she executed it correctly, but I like the staticky kind of mellowed voice. I think a lot of artists have used that and executed it very well. So I like the idea. I just don't think she killed it.
Fair enough.
Like it was whatever. But the song was garbage. Like I listened through, and then I started actually paying attention, and I was like, is she trying to go back to the ex that she just has made her entire career off of? Like, there's no way. So I listened to it again and I read all of the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's no way. Like, what is wrong with her? She's an idiot.
Yeah, don't do it, Olivia. First of all, just life advice. It is a bad idea. Yes, correct. It is a bad idea. Honestly, I'm listening to this and I'm foreseeing another little bit of a lawsuit coming in my head between Taylor Swift again and Olivia Rodrigo for, let's do this mumbly, rappy, lack of energy, no vocal performance chorus, or I guess she does verses instead of the chorus here, over like some static, distorted trap instrumental, and call it "Look What You Made Me Do" Part 2, which I've already said is the worst song I've ever heard in my life. And this might be a close second. And I will say, I agree with you. Like there was a moment on the pre-chorus where she was kind of doing a little bit of melodic stuff over the static kind of flow, and I was like, okay, this works a little bit, but then she follows it right up with like a really lackluster chorus. I don't think she's the best writer. I don't think she has great production. I think she is much better vocally than like Taylor Swift has been lately. So I don't know why she feels the need to rely on a song like this, other than just like if that's what she thinks is going to be pop radio. And if that's the case, fine, but like I don't respect the quality of that as much as if like even Vampire, which I don't really love, it's grown on me a lot as like a piano ballad, and like, it's not for me, but like I see the appeal of it. I think she executes it fairly well.
Right.
I do feel like there's not a whole lot special about it, just in terms of the fact that I've heard much better piano ballads from a lot of different artists.
I just don't, because she could be really good. Like she's still really young. Like how old is she?
I think she's like 19, 20, something like that. 18, 19, 20.
So she's 20. So still like fairly young. Like very new to the music industry still. Obviously like she didn't even start getting into music. I mean, to my knowledge, like her own music getting released and everything until after she was on her show High School Musical, the series. So she still has like a lot of room to grow, and like she has talent, just I don't know why she feels the need to like copy exactly what's been done. Like there's a difference between copying like everything everyone else has done and getting influence and like kind of basically what Travis did with Kanye, like learn, figure out what you want to do to it and make it your own. Like make sure that it's different. Like she has the capability to do that. Like I just don't understand why? Because now she's made enemies when she could have went to like Taylor or Paramore,
Yeah.
if that's who you want to look up to, get notes, like learn a little bit. Like she could have used them to her benefit,
Yeah.
but instead, like I don't know.
Yeah. And to be fair, I don't know. Like, I don't really know the full story behind the lawsuit. So they could
Right.
be like chill and it could be like a
Right.
labels kind of thing. Um, but it does feel like quite a bit derivative. And when she has so much talent in something else, like a vocal performance, these piano ballads, it makes me wonder why she feels the need to go a different avenue.
Mhm.
And if that's what she likes or if that's what she thinks is going to sell, that's fine. I just don't think that's what she's very good at.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that wraps up that song for me. That's
Yeah.
all I got
It
to
was
say about
trash.
that.
It
Oh,
wasn't
but
good.
speaking of Taylor Swift, she just announced Taylor's version of 1989.
I'm done. Goodbye.
I'm actually a big 1989 fan if you watch the episode or listen to it.
It's not terrible. Like
It's not
I
terrible.
didn't
I think
even
it has
say it
great
was bad.
moments.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
like
it's got great moments.
and I do respect that album for it being like her first step into
Sure,
pop. And
sure.
we said that in the
Yeah,
podcast. Just why?
yeah.
Like
I
I
mean,
just I
well,
don't
I
get
get I
Taylor versions.
yeah. So the reason she's dropping them is because the label that she used to be under owns the rights to all of her music that she released under them. So
Uh-huh.
she owns none of her own music from that era. So she's just
Oh,
re-recording all of these
so she gets profit
Taylor's
off of
version
her
so
songs.
that she has a version that she owns 100% of the right to.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's the
okay.
reasoning for it, which I
I can get
respect.
behind that. Yeah,
Um
absolutely.
I'm hopeful with this one that she'll do something uh like maybe give us a couple different versions. Like I would love an acoustic version of Wildest Dreams. Like that's one of my favorite
Yeah,
songs by her. I would love an acoustic version of that. I am curious to hear what she's got like as far as unreleased singles, which she's brought up a lot of times in these newer albums because it, was kind of her first step. So I'm sure
yeah,
she cut a lot out.
right,
Um, I don't know. I'm curious to see how it turns out. I'm not saying I'm super optimistic,
right.
but I'm hopeful that I'll get a couple tracks that
I
I enjoy
want
off it.
just because I have a feeling like it's happened, and I don't know if this has been discussed before or anything. I'm just kind of under a rock, but I'd love to hear a Taylor and Drake song because
Mm.
to me they're both at a point where they're both mid, and
And
so
lacking a lot of like
yeah,
charisma,
yeah,
you might
but
say.
like back then
They had
around
their
the same
moments.
period, yeah, like they
Yeah,
were
when
both
you
popping
said that, I
off.
was just thinking like, yeah, 2013 Drake and Taylor, that would be crazy.
Yeah,
Or like
because I mean,
like
like,
that era, that would be
yeah,
sick.
they had that. They both had a commercial where they did each other's songs.
Yeah, that's
So
facts.
like you can tell there's some kind of a relationship there. They're like probably cool with each other, like
Yeah,
okay with that. So
sure.
I don't know. That just seems like an
Yeah.
interesting
Why don't
little
we just
pairing.
like put Morgan Wallen and Ed Sheeran on it and just make it the trifecta of like top streaming artists?
I mean,
Trifecta. That was
so,
four
yeah,
people. I'm an idiot.
glad you said it. I was gonna put a whole bunch of little captions in that.
Yeah, that's not my brightest moment. Let's move on. My next track that I wanted to talk about was the song Artificial by Daughtry, which just dropped. I don't know if you've listened to a whole lot of Daughtry. They were big when I was a kid. I think it's actually, I don't know if he has a band, but the lead singer was on American Idol and went pretty far. He's one of the biggest names to come off the show.
Wow.
But just dropped this new song called Artificial. And I was curious because like I haven't heard a lot of new music from them lately.
Right.
So I listened to it a couple times and it's a little over the top, a little cinematic, which at times can turn me off, but I feel like it was pretty good for my liking.
Yeah.
It's kind of this postmodern critique on society right now and how fake society's become, and kind of like it doesn't really directly like reference anything AI related, but just kind of talking about how everything in the world is become so fake and such a like and kind of how that's going to be our downfall as people if we don't have anything real in our lives,
Yeah.
and like don't have anything that we respect bigger than ourselves or outside of ourselves. And I liked it a lot. I think the vocals go crazy on it. The instrumental's pretty cool. Like I said, it's a little cinematic at times, like a
Yeah.
little over the top, which kind of is like,
Yeah.
Um, but like in general, once you kind of get into the song, I really enjoyed that one a lot. So
Cool.
that was my second track.
Yeah. So I chose this song because we were talking so poorly about this individual
Interesting.
Um,
Who's it gonna be?
Rob 49.
I didn't even listen. I didn't even listen to it.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. It's actually a pretty good song. It's him and Lil Durk. It's called Viral.
Okay.
I'll have to go back and listen because I was
Sure.
still kind of like not fully paying attention. But
And
when
it
I
was like right after Olivia Rodrigo, so it just sounded so good in comparison.
no, actually, Olivia was the last song I listened
Oh, dang it.
because it was the first song I queued.
Yeah.
And so I just kept pushing play next and she fell
Yeah.
to the very bottom.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like I was actually shocked that it was pretty good. I'll have to go back and listen to see if that stands.
Yeah.
But I mean, Lil Durk's part was really good too. And that upsets me because I don't like when he has his hit or miss moments.
Yeah.
I just want him to be good.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
Yeah. I mean, we've said it so many times before. It's not that much to ask an artist to like always release your best song ever. I expect you to never make mistakes.
Right.
Like when you're a celebrity, you are like a pedestal above humanity and you should never make mistakes.
Exactly. Somebody got mad at us.
I know. Nobody understands sarcasm these days.
But yeah, like I was pleasantly surprised on
Very
how
cool,
good
very
that
cool.
song was. And I think he's dropping an album, so I don't know about you, but I'm gonna listen because now I'm just all sorts of confused on why he was so bad with Travis, but then so good by himself.
Right,
Dirk.
right. He's
So,
kind of like off-brand NBA YoungBoy to me.
yeah,
Which is another artist that I feel like has an occasional moment where I'm like, oh,
yeah.
cool.
I can't stand him. I
well,
don't like
to each their own. He's also like one of the top streaming rappers ever.
It
which
makes
is
me so
bonkers.
mad. Not really. Like
It's kind of odd though.
But
yeah,
maybe I just need him. Like,
who's that much in their feelings and like that violent that they're just listening to like YoungBoy all the time to give him that many streams? I don't like. It's not like he's top 10. It's like he's after Drake. He's like number 2. The world needs help, man.
pop off.
Hey, but shout out to him. I heard he's like, getting baptized and doing all sorts of cool stuff. I don't know if that's still happening, but
yeah.
My next song is, I think it's actually 2 weeks old. It might be even older than that, but it's pretty recent. It's called Have a Good Time by Darius Rucker of Hootie and the Blowfish fame. Super fun country track. Super fun. It's just the kind of song that I would want to sit on the back porch, watch a sunset, sip lemonade to in the summertime. One of those kinds of vibes. Vocally, it's great. The instrumental isn't anything crazy, like nothing that you wouldn't expect from a country song, but just works super well together. Just super like mellow, enjoyable lyrics. Nothing like outrageously good, but just a song that I think I'll enjoy a lot for the summertime. So, yeah.
I don't even know if I have any more to talk about. I mean,
that's cool, bro.
I mean, Kevin Gates, you were trash. Yo Gotti and DJ Drama,
that was
not
bad.
good.
Yeah, that was bad.
French Montana, what are you doing?
The DJ Khaled was pretty bad.
Yeah. Why did he hop on the ad libs at the end?
Well,
Yeet, I don't enjoy your music, but
yeah, that's actually an interesting conversation, which maybe like I don't want to spend too much time on that, but we were kind of talking about the appeal of Yeet. And you kind of said like he's trash, but like only once you read the lyrics, and we kind of like I had just seen his interview where he's like, I'm not alone in like trash lyrics. Like your favorite rapper has trash lyrics. And so like we went back through a couple of our favorite rappers' worst moments, and we were like, that's not the move.
Yeah.
But to be fair, like I feel like we kind of came to an understanding of like the appeal of his music and why that may or may not be us at different times. The comparison came up to like a more mild, mellow Playboy Cardi. I don't know. Like, do you feel like that's a fitting comparison, or do you feel like
100%. I think after that discussion, maybe I just need to like chill out with the hate. I feel like maybe I'm still in my only old school hip hop kind of feel, and like
you're branching out quite a bit though.
I am.
Yeah.
But
I mean, you've got Wallen in your top 10. You've got Travis Scott that you really enjoy.
Yeah,
I mean, would you have said that like 3 years ago? That's pretty crazy.
No, absolutely not. Like I even like listening to Lil Yachty's album, like me being able to enjoy that and like give it the praise that it does deserve is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm almost there, but because it's just I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
The rage mumble.
That might be the only one I can't get behind. I'm not into rage music.
I'm not really by it either,
Yeah.
but
But like you say, like
maybe
I
that's
understand the appeal.
yeah. Maybe that's like our like I'm gonna find us a rage album that we both enjoy before the year's out. That's my next mission. Um, but a couple tracks that I wanted to shout out because we do have a stacked episode that I'm super stoked about with
Yeah.
our conversation about Barbie and Mammoth by Wolfgang Van Halen 2 coming up here in a
Yep.
little bit. But a couple tracks that I wanted to shout out. This artist, Mike, it's just what he goes by, Mike, period. I think he used to go by Mike Stud and then just changed it to a period. An artist that I've kind of super enjoyed low key. He's kind of like pop rap, alternative style music.
Cool.
Not a great lyricist, not a great singer, not great production, but just kind of like combines all of it for like some mellow vibes that I enjoy. He did a song a couple weeks ago with V Wills, another artist called Bride at a Bar. Let me start by saying super toxic, super toxic. I'm not behind the message. I'm not behind it. They kind of talk about like being at a bar and like meeting this girl that's about to be married in a week and like having a great night and like nothing outrageous happening, but just like her admitting like that she feels so much more comfortable around this stranger that she just met at a bar than like around her fiance. And he's like, she's getting married next week, but I know she has that seed of doubt now. And like, super toxic, super toxic. It reminds me of Out of Time by The Weeknd. But a super good vibe. Like just musically, I really enjoyed it. Very, like I said, mellow pop rap, alternative kind of vibe, and just blends those genres really well. So
super cool.
I enjoyed that one. I also put down Halsey's song "So Good." I think it's a year or two old now. It came out after her last album, which I did not enjoy at all. Her last album was not very good.
Yeah.
But this was kind of like a return to the more like manic era or like Americana Heartbreak. I can't remember what that album's called, but whatever that era is. Which I really enjoyed both of those albums from her, as well as like Badlands. It's kind of more of that sound.
Yeah.
Super just like pop alternative, a little bit of punk in it, and just a great vocal performance that I've come back to a lot the last couple weeks.
Cool.
The last one is by an artist that I have a huge like soft spot for, because this artist doesn't always put out the best music, but like I love some of their music. I know we've talked about it. It's Duckworth. Duckworth released a song a couple weeks ago. It's actually a double single, but the song I've been coming back to a lot is called Big Boots. It kind of reminds me, I'll be the first to say, it's not like a great critically, like I don't stand by it being like one of the best songs of the year or anything. I for sure see the flaws, and it kind of reminds me of a song that if you were watching like one of these young adult drama shows on like Netflix or HBO or something, it feels like a song that would be playing in like a club or party scene of one of those shows, which like isn't like a great vibe. Like it kind of gives you the vibe of crappy music, but super enjoyable. I like it a lot. It's just like dance clubbish, like makes you want to vibe. I like it a lot. Cool. Again, another artist that I didn't love his last album, but the album before that was super down behind, super good. One of the most underrated of the year, in my opinion. But yeah, those are my 3 tracks.
Cool. So the first one I would say is a song that, in my opinion, was probably one of the weaker songs on this album. Not saying it's not good, but Close by J. Cole on the off season.
Yeah.
I've been coming back to that one a lot. I don't necessarily know why, and I don't understand shuffle sometimes because it'll like play the same 5 songs every time I push shuffle. And somehow that song got into that rotation. But I've been letting it play lately, and it's still lyrically amazing. And like he really only uses that kind of rhyme scheme, like anything that rhymes with close, like that's the entire song, which is super impressive to do. Like that's not an easy thing. So that's my first one. Solid song. Just cool, in my opinion, one of the weaker songs off that album.
Sure.
The second song would be Brain Dead by Jaden. That's still one of my favorite albums.
Like, it's a great one.
It's so fun. Like it's
It's kind of that cheap pop punk
Yeah.
vibe that just like you can come back to it very much almost at any moment.
Yeah, like I feel like that album and that song in particular just gives me a lot of energy. Like it puts me in a good mood just because that's the kind of feel that the album gives off more often than not.
Yeah.
Like the tempo's high, the drums are great, his vocals sound really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I still love that album and come back to it frequently. Now I'm not saying this song for the fact that I'm on it, but more so I'm shouting out Mikey. But we have a song called Yes Lloyd, off of me, Mikey's, and Ty's collab album.
Is that one on Back to the Cold Sack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the second to last song. And I mean, I'm always impressed by Mikey's producing ability.
Yeah.
And he's one of the reasons why I want to get heavily into producing. Him and Jonah both have great different sounds, but
yeah.
Listening to that and then like the album that we've been working on, just the different beats and productions he's been able to create is just like super cool. It's never like the same, and he's just always so excited to like show what's new. And I mean, he's just as good lyrically too, but I always love his production. So more so oh my gosh, I can't speak. I'm slurring my
you have a
dude, I think I have a speech impediment now. Anyways, just shout out to Mikey.
Actually, one of the songs that I came across, I don't even remember you telling me this song came out. As We Get On By with Mike.
With Mike and my boy.
Is Thor on? I don't think Thor's on that.
Oh, is he not?
Felt like it was a different avenue for both of you guys than maybe what you've done together in the past. But I actually like that one a lot.
Cool.
I feel like you guys went a different direction and it like complemented your style still. So
yeah,
pretty cool.
It's a lot of fun to, because he's also super into like experimenting and like finding new sounds.
Right.
Something that not a lot of people would know about him, if you've heard any of his music, is he has a great voice vocally, in my opinion. It's not your typical like pop singer or like acoustic singer. Like, no, it's just great vocals, and he knows how to line up different vocal tracks to where it sounds super hypnotizing, like, but it's beautiful at the same time. Like, he's really good at that.
Very cool. Very cool. I think that's it for music. Let's jump into this Barbie review and
let's get it
not spend too much time on this one.
Yeah.
Before we like get into spoilers, I don't know that there's really any spoilers that we'll like cover that aren't like super obvious, but just before we get in, what's your take out of 10 for this movie?
It's a 1.
It's a 1.
Yeah.
Straight up a 1.
And the reason, like, not to dive in super deep, but the reason why I even gave it a 1 is because I didn't hate the music. Like, we kind of covered some of the songs earlier.
Sure.
And so I don't hate the music. The music's pretty good. It's like that pop, bubblegum pop kind of vibe. Shut up. Anyways, music's not terrible.
Yeah.
Especially when you have people like Dua Lipa, Billie Eilish.
Right.
Even though we weren't huge fans
and
of that,
I think even if you're talking just the score, like just the instrumentals, like Mark Ronson did an admirable job mapping the tone of the movie.
When me and Jonah were doing this topic last night, I was a little bit over dramatic. I gave the scoring a 4. I'd probably put it a little bit higher.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, the only good things I found in that movie were honestly like only 2 of the side characters. I think Alan had his moments of comedy.
Mm-hmm.
The weird Barbie was, in my opinion, the best Barbie. Like, she had her few lines that I enjoyed. And then Kingsley, the dude that's on Secret Invasion. I don't know his. I mean, he's Ken, but that Ken.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stop thinking about when he was throwing up. But like, besides that, like, I didn't find anything good about this movie.
Fair enough. I rated it quite a bit higher than you, though it still wasn't great. I gave it a 3.5 out of 10. And we'll probably like, if you're listening and you're afraid of spoilers, like there's not really many that we'll cover, but if you are afraid of that, feel free to jump ahead to the Mammoth review or whatever.
Right.
I felt like there was occasional good one-liners, and I'll hit some pros before I like dive into my critiques. There was some occasional good one-liners and some like originality comedically that I thought was pretty decent. Like, especially the first one that comes to mind is when Barbie's kind of having this like emotional breakdown, Margot Robbie's character, and she's like, I'm not pretty anymore. And then the narrator comes in and is like, note to the directors, like, if you are trying to get this point across, Margot Robbie's the like not the right actress to cast. And I was like, that's pretty original. Like, to interject that into the movie right here, like not fitting in the scene at all, but like added to the comedy. And I was like, okay, like I respect that.
Right.
Again, I can't remember his first name, but the Ken that you liked as well, like that vomit scene, like I thought was kind of funny. Ryan Gosling has like some pretty good one-liners, like when he's like, once I realized patriarchy wasn't just about horses, I lost a lot of interest. Like, or what does he say when he walks around the corner and he's like, and I can't even remember what he says, but he walks around the corner after Barbie says she wants to like come hang out, and he says something super out of pocket, like a one word. Anyways, that part I thought was pretty good. So it had its moments of good one-liners that I enjoyed.
Oh, he said sublime.
Sublime. Yes. That was a pretty good one-liner. Like, just felt like it kind of came out of left field. So it did have its moments of comedy like that I enjoyed. Side note, they feel a little too far and few between for a comedy movie for me. But anyways, the set design was as good as I'd want. Like, that and the costumes, like they matched it really well. I think it's pretty hilarious that there was like a paint shortage for pink paint while they were making this movie, because they were making the movie.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Anyways, I thought that was pretty good. And speaking of these actors, I felt like a lot of them are really talented actors. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are two that have been climbing my list of favorite actors over the last few years. And I felt like they gave the most they could be asked to, despite the script that they were given.
Right.
Like, they weren't asked to play like very complex characters, and yet they, like, I could tell that they had more to give as an actor, but that the script kind of was limiting
like
them,
holding them back a little
bit. So I thought that I really liked Weird Barbie. I thought she was the best Barbie character, just because of like how kind of off-putting the idea of that was, as opposed to the rest of the Barbies. Like, it kind of contrasted really well. I thought it was like her character was pretty funny. What else do I have here? It communicated the moral pretty clearly, like kind of what their point that they were trying to get across was. And I didn't mind the music, like you were saying, and a couple that I kind of didn't really dump on earlier, but like that I didn't love earlier, that I had a lot more respect for after the movie, was Billie Eilish's song. Really respected it in terms of cinema, like how it appeared in the movie, and how it appeared in the scene. Like, I really liked it in that context. I wouldn't really come back to listen to it just on my own, but like in that context, I really enjoyed it. And honestly, the Ice Spice Nicki Minaj song to close it out, that is what I think their avenue for both of them is, like super satirical, super kind of like not to be taken seriously comedic rap with like just a pretty good instrumental and kind of like these sassy bubblegum rap flows over it. I really enjoyed that from them. Again, not a song that I think I'd come back to, but a song I really respected in the film. And I also said it's great entertainment if you're a 9-year-old that's interested in Barbie. That's kind of the pros I took away. You kind of mentioned a couple. Do you have any more before we like jump into critiques of this thing?
I will definitely give Margot Robbie her flowers. I was telling Jonah this, like, I didn't realize her versatility as an actress until this movie. Like, knowing that she is now both Harley Quinn and Barbie is a huge,
pretty crazy
like, jump.
Like,
that's a huge gap. And so I do think that she played Barbie to the best of her ability. I didn't like the character, but I think she did play the best that she could with that character. So I give a huge shout out to Margot.
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this review just because we've got another review
We
coming
have
up here in
better
a little
things to
bit.
talk about.
Yeah, I do have some critiques that I want to get through, and I wanted to say I don't have to be the target audience of the film to respect or enjoy it.
Right.
Like I will start off by saying this 100% movie I was not the target audience for.
No.
I'm sure there's some things that the director like might want us to take out of the movie, and I saw those things, and like however people interpret them is up to them, and that's fine. And I don't really need to touch on that too much.
Yeah.
But I get really peeved by the idea of a movie when somebody makes a movie like that and then uses the moral or like the kind of meaning of the movie as a crutch for critiques of the movie. And that was kind of apparent like with Taylor Swift's Lover for me. Like again, not an album that I'm the target audience of, but when that's used as a crutch for like, oh, you just don't get it because you're this, or whatever, like you don't like it just because of this. Like I have criticisms of the film that I'll get into in a minute. That just like my gender or like who I am doesn't really like play a factor in. It's just cinematically what didn't do it for me.
Right.
And kind of on that note, like a camp performance, what as they call it, or like intentionally giving a bad performance is fine. And I know that's what they were doing with a lot of the Barbie characters. There's thunder going on outside our apartment if you hear that. Like a performance where you're intentionally doing things poorly is fine. I also don't like if that's used as like a way to retrospectively say that's why the movie's not good. It's supposed to not be good.
Yeah.
No, just make a better movie. And like you can put intentionally bad characters in it.
Right.
Or you can intentionally do things poorly in a movie to like accent it in different ways. But like when parts of the movie aren't good that you're trying to make good, that's kind of where I like have problems with it.
Right.
So on that note, like some of these performances, like Ken and Margot Robbie's character, a lot of the Barbies, I don't really have many criticisms for because I'm fine with them kind of being that intentionally poorly done character without any character development, without any background.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what that character is supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
But every character in this film was horribly written. Like every character had zero character development, even the ones that should. Like the mother and daughter, they got no emotional investment into their relationship before, during, or after their kind of like evolution. Like they tried to do these flashbacks and they don't really teach you anything about their relationship. They don't teach you why they don't really like each other. They don't teach you why they don't get along. They don't teach you why they start getting along, and they don't like give you any real resolution for them. They're just like angry at each other. And then all of a sudden 1 minute they're like, yeah, cool. Let's go save the Barbies. Like what?
Yeah. Dude, I have such a problem with the human characters. And by the human, I mean, I don't really care about Will Ferrell's character. Like, that's just whatever. But like,
I get that one as well, kind of being like an intentionally
bad character. Yeah. But with the mom and the daughter, more so the daughter. Like I told Jonah, because we have our character review, like in our full review, and he didn't choose the daughter as one of them, which I thought was a mistake because I would have given her a -2 out of 10. Like she was not good. Like anything that her character did was garbage. Like any dialogue, she was not funny. I understand she's supposed to be this like
moody, angsty,
right? Yeah, but her mom at one point, it was exposed that she was thinking about death, and then her daughter was just like, dude, shut up.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
And it's not like it's poor acting. Like, shout out to the actress for like getting a huge role like that. But it's the writing of the character that's bad.
Like, I get that you're this angry little teenager, but your mom just told you that she's been thinking of death and you told her to shut up.
Yeah.
Like all of that was stupid.
I really didn't like how there was virtually no resolution given to any character in any substantial kind of way. And that being the primary problem with it. Like the mother and the daughter, like all of a sudden we're just on great terms. Everything was great in life. That's not like how, that relationship was heading or how it should like be resolved in like any sort of practical sense. It just felt like such an afterthought that they threw in to like appease the diversity of the plot, which I really, really didn't like. And on that note, Ken's resolution was the only like moderately substantial, like understandable resolution where he kind of had that moment of like, oh, I don't need Barbie to like do my own thing and be my own,
Yeah.
person or whatever. And even that one was like literally like 2 sentences said to him, and then character was resolved.
Yeah.
Great character resolution. I'm cool now. I'm Knuff. Right. Like that was kind of all we got from him. And on that note, like, again, I don't need to be the target audience to respect a movie. I don't need to agree with the message to respect the movie, but just kind of the note that, like, as a society, nothing, or I guess as individuals, nothing around us defines us. Like, your relationship doesn't define you. Like, who you are doesn't define you. What you do for work doesn't define you.
Right.
What your hobbies are don't define you. No, those are literally like the things that make you who you are. And that's not a bad thing. You don't need to be reliant on another person to be who you are.
Right.
But like your interest in your hobbies and like what you do, those are all parts of you. And that changes and evolves over time. And that's fine to have that happen. But like the whole kind of thing of like, no, you're just Ken. Literally, like, if you actually put that into context, you're telling somebody that they are nothing. Like, you have no value. You are just a human. Like, that's all you are. And I don't think that's the point they were trying to make. I think they're trying to get at what I'm saying, that like we can like define ourselves and become what we want. But like when you reduce somebody's character resolution to 2 sentences, that gets lost in translation. You're just saying like, no, you're just Ken. You're just you.
Yeah.
You're just nothing. That's literally what you're saying to him.
Even like one of the parts of dialogue when Barbie's kind of telling him that, he's like, beach, like, because that's the kind of Ken he is, and she's like, no. And it's like, oh, what is he like? So I
and I don't think like, again, like I'm not saying people are defined by one thing or like by anything in particular, but I think we get to define ourselves by our interests and things that we care about. And like, I don't think that saying that nothing defines you is the right way to get the message across that I think they were trying to. But again, like that kind of falls into the category of when you give somebody that poor of a character resolution, that gets lost in translation. You're not going to get that out of it. And like kind of, again, still going down this path, what the heck was Barbie's existential, ethereal, eternity from Thor, glass sea crisis resolution where she's like, yes. What the heck was that? That was so out of place. Like, you've made this slapstick, like non-intentionally bad movie this entire time to have this big ethereal existential like character resolution where she's like, I'm alive now. Yes. Like, what the heck is that? Like, that was so out of pocket and had like, it was completely bogus in a movie where like that was not the tone of the film at all. And they could have gotten that point across and made a much better character resolution than just being like, what do I do now? You're human. Yes. Billie Eilish plays in the background. Like, no, that was not the move for me.
Oh my gosh.
My last 2 criticisms, the dialogue was crap. It was really bad.
It was really bad.
And again, primarily between the kid and the mom is what I'm referring to. Their conversations just didn't feel believable. They weren't engaging. They didn't make me feel emotionally invested in it. And I've been emotionally invested in like cartoon raccoons this year, like CGI raccoons or cartoon Spider-Men from different universes. Like, those movies have gotten me emotionally invested based on their dialogue. This film did not. No. Like, literally with like a heartbreaking concept of like a mother and a daughter who don't get along. Like, that in itself makes me feel like I should be interested in the story, but the dialogue was so bad that it made me uninterested.
Why did the mom randomly know how to do some Tokyo drift?
I also wrote down pros for this movie. It was a great Chevy commercial for that whole.
No, literally.
I was like, this is literally just a Chevy commercial. There's absolutely no point for this to be in here other than Chevy paid beans to be in this film.
Genius. They are geniuses.
Okay. I said the cinematography was kind of mid. There wasn't anything like outrageously bad about it, but like the whole Ken dance battle, it was kind of just like an aerial shot of them the whole time. And then like from the same angle, and like, again, felt kind of weird, like out of place. Like, I get that it's supposed to be kind of weird, but anyways, I just said it was kind of mid. Like,
if they would have kept it on the beach, it would have been like more of like,
I would have been chill with like the dance fight vibe that way. But it just felt kind of weird that they were all like all of a sudden in like black leotards and were dancing on like this. I don't know. It felt like something out of like an old Disney Channel movie that I would watch. But just that there was nothing outrageously good nor outrageously bad about the cinematography. I just said it was kind of middle of the road. So that's my commentary on Barbie. all of that's going to get clipped, and I'm sure out of
absolutely.
context, we'll do it just to
Absolutely.
make people mad. But
It's
um,
become my favorite thing to do.
but like I said, I do have some praise for the film. I don't understand why it's so highly rated. Even though I understand why people are saying it's highly rated, I just don't think those reasons are anywhere near enough for a movie to be good to me.
So I don't know if you know this, but I looked it up on IMDb last night because I was worried. It's not even in the top 1,000.
Yeah, it's
It
like
has
a
like a
7.5.
7.4.
Yeah, it's pretty middle of the road. But like, I'm not a big Batman versus Superman fan, but like, it's like a whole point higher on IMDb. Like, Batman versus Superman's like a 6.5. And I don't think that's a great movie, but like,
no,
I would say they're comparable at least.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's
anyways,
crazy.
Any other thoughts that you have on Barbie?
Okay. Jonah said I was crazy for this. I don't care. And it's not even really Barbie related. I don't like Ryan Gosling. I don't like him whatsoever.
I can't stand by that slander. I just won't.
Well, you're gonna hear it.
Okay.
He has a very punchable face.
Floor is yours.
Yeah, he has a very punchable face. And maybe it's because this might have been the very first Ryan Gosling film I've seen ever.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah,
we're gonna have some movies.
Okay, cool. So maybe in the near future I will have a different
take.
Yeah,
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will.
Right now, he just seems like one of those guys where like he's a pretty boy, and that's quite it. With his,
if Ken is your only exposure to Ryan Gosling, I would hate him too.
Okay,
based on Ryan Gosling before this film, he's actually like super funny in that role because he kind of comes across as that guy, but like he's really not that guy.
Okay. Yeah. So then maybe
that's why it's so funny is it's kind of like, oh, I have like a punchable face kind of thing, like self-deprecating in a way to take the role.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe like I'll stop right
La
there.
La Land. I'm not a big musicals guy. I'm not a big rom-com guy.
I heard that one's a great
film.
Yeah.
Great film.
And he's in that one.
Blade Runner, the new Blade Runner.
That's what Jonah was telling me.
Super good. I think he's in Remember the Titans. I haven't seen that movie in too long.
I haven't seen that movie.
Yeah. So we'll watch some Ryan Gosling and we'll get you squared away because that's an issue.
I will I will cut short on the
also just another criticism now that I'm thinking about that. Even Alan like really didn't get any character resolution. This film virtually had zero character resolution for anybody.
Yeah.
It is being praised as like one of the best pieces of cinema in history.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So I'll quit with the Ryan Gosling slander as of right now. Maybe
at least just hold off until we see a couple movies. Yeah. That might be fair.
We'll see if I continue to hate him.
I will say it felt really weird that his abs were so airbrushed and just like clearly put on by makeup for a guy that doesn't really need it. Like he's very fit and very muscular.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but like it just kind of gave a weird vibe. Like, why is there like?
Well, I mean, I guess
like,
they're supposed to be plastic, so I mean that could be,
I guess,
help. I don't know.
It just kind of was weird. I was like, what the?
Yeah. You kind of covered all the bases. I
had a lot to say about this movie, and I wanted to say it very quickly.
And honestly, you did it very well with without pointing out things that you can take away from real life.
Yeah.
Like you did very good on just telling what was bad about the actual movie.
Well, I
without
think with
any
a movie like
messages.
This, I think with the movie like this, you kind of have to, because like I said, if you're using the moral of the story kind of as like a crutch,
right?
It's kind of like the whole Black Panther thing. I like respect the movie Black Panther a lot, but I have my film criticisms of the movie that make it not one of my favorite Marvel movies ever.
Right.
I love the Black Panther character. I love the idea behind him. I love the message of Black Panther, like 1,000%. But my film criticisms are that, and like I feel like when you use kind of morals or messages as like, oh, you don't like this because you don't understand the moral, like. I don't know. I feel like you have to kind of articulate it in a way that like
and
isn't that, because I don't like, whether or not I disagree with the message of this film, like I totally agree with like, you know, equality and women empowerment and like kind of, you know, coexisting and like changing and shaping society better for everybody. Like those are all things that I'm 1,000% behind.
Agreed.
And so I don't want it to come across as like when I'm critiquing the movie that I'm critiquing that.
Yeah.
Or like critiquing people's ideologies, because that's not the point at all. Like I just, I have my grievances with the movies that are my grievances.
Yeah. I'm just saying you did a very good job on disagreeing with the movie itself.
Okay.
Other pros, or I guess, oh, I
Anything
meant
you want to say,
cons.
really.
I honestly thought that Alan having no resolution was quite funny, honestly,
It was kind of fitting.
because he's just such a throwaway character, and like
Yeah.
it is very known to everyone, including himself, that he is. So when he
Right.
finally was about to get his way and like leave,
Yeah.
he just got wrapped right back in and is
Yeah.
like, you know what, like whatever. So kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah. I will say I respect I've seen things on the internet that are like the four girls at the lunchroom table are all styled and like modeled after the Bratz characters, which were like the kind of biggest competition to Barbie for a long time. And maybe they still are. I haven't like seen these things since I was like 5.
I thought Barbie was done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't even know Barbie was still a thing.
Bro, let's give a quick shout out to the real Barbie MVP, tour guide Barbie from Toy Story. The resistance would have failed without tour guide Barbie. So big shout out. The real MVP of this story, tour guide Barbie from Toy Story. We support you.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Man, you just put entire scenes of that movie into my head just by saying that. That's amazing.
Great film.
Yeah, Toy Story, not Barbie.
Yeah. I think that's it. Is that it? Well, we are gonna go ahead and jump into this new Mammoth 2 album.
Let's do it
by Wolfgang Van Halen.
Yeah, I'm for it.
It's lit. So we had just a little bit of change of scheduling, but we're going to hold off on the Mammoth 2 review. So it's just going to be Barbie this week. We're going to do that next week along with TMNT.
Yep.
Because I didn't realize Gran Turismo doesn't come out till Friday and might not see it or have enough time to let it marinate before we review it. So we're going to push everything back just a little bit and do Mammoth next week with TMNT.
Cool.
So I think that wraps up our episode for today. Yeah. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts every Monday. Check out J-Mac's new music on Apple Music, Spotify, wherever you listen to music, along with Mike and Thor Boy.
Yeah.
We're on all social media, pretty much wherever you get social media.
Yeah, literally. All.
Check it out. Flame us for our Barbie takes.
We haven't been flamed in a minute.
In my throat. I know. I was really disappointed in the Drake fans. They didn't show up to flame me. Did they?
I think one.
We're gonna see if Drake fans. Yeah, Drake fans flamed me. Yeah. I think other than that, it's just have a great week. Have a blessed week. Make sure to tip your waiters if you're at a sit-down restaurant. Tip your barber. They do hard work. Without barbers, we would look really ugly. We'd all look like Jaden if we didn't have barbers.
I found it before you even said that. I could have stopped you at any point, and I just kept letting you speak.
Let's hear what the Drake fans have to say.
The cowboy hat says that your take doesn't matter.
Okay,
that's it.
that's it.
That's literally it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, flame us for our outfits or our social media. For our takes. And I think that's going to wrap up this week.
Yeah, that's it.
So we'll catch y'all in the next one.
Bye.
All right. I'm tour guide Barbie. Please keep your hands and feet inside the vehicle at all times.